Like I want my kids to look at me like a superhero.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's so.
Now with today's world, the kids are so advanced.
I never.
Just shut up. You're gonna do what I called you. Like, now come on and do what I told you to do.
For real, yeah. I miss him a lot.
I think it's more like an ego thing with parents. You know what I'm saying? They don't want other parents to look at them like, oh, that's how they're being brought up, or that's how it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Parental Vision Podcast. I'm your host, Tiana, and today's segment is sponsored by Faye's Coffee, fueling those late-night parenting moments. Today, we have Hartford's very own Tyshaun Taylor sitting with us today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, obviously, you're here because you're a parent. So, tell me a little bit about your parenting journey.
I started young. So, when I was, 19 with my first kid, who happens to be 16 now. Working a job now. It's fun though. Like I started young. I went through a lot. I figured out a lot. I knew what I wanted, and that was to be a part of my kids' lives, and whatever that took, I was willing to do it. So that's, overall everything that I've done leading up to, that first moment, having a kid to where I'm at now. It's just been a series of figuring that out. But like I said, knowing, all right, I want to be in their lives. I'm going to be present, and I'm going to do whatever that takes. And to be good at it, you know what I mean? Not just be somebody who's just there to be there. I'm going to be nice. So,
So when you first found out you were going to be a father, what was those initial thoughts, if you can remember?
No, I know exactly what I did. I celebrated.
Really?
Yeah, like it was literally like Shorty walked out of the bathroom. And Shorty, my wife.
Yeah.
Walked out of the bathroom, and I literally was just like, yo, like, want to go out to eat? And I was mad nervous, though. I was super scared. But at that moment, I was just like, I can't show her that. So it was just like, we went to Friendly's. We ate what she loves to eat. And that whole ride there, I was nervous. The whole time at the table, I was nervous. But at that moment, I knew, okay, you can't show that no more. You got to step up to the plate. You got to do whatever that takes. And I didn't know that was going to be my reaction. It just kind of just happened. It was just like, you don't, if you do anything other than not embrace this, it could go wrong. So I just took it as, all right, let's celebrate. I was 19 years old. I didn't know nothing about what I was getting ready to embark on, but I knew that I wasn't going to, I knew at that moment I was ready to stand up to whatever my future was going to be with kids.
And how did you prepare yourself to embark on that journey at 19? Because that's such a young age to even figure out the initial steps to take.
Falling forward. Falling forward. I would keep it 100. Because everybody wants to say, like, all right, yeah, I had this thing. None of my kids are playing, right? But at the same time, I do know that I won't call it a consequence, but I'll say I'm going to stand on whatever I have to do in order to, get through whatever, handle my business in any situation, any life situation. So just having them was just like, oh, wow, okay, I'm having a kid, it's like, all right, I got to figure out life. I don't know what these next series of events are going to be, but I'm going to learn from things. I didn't have much of, I grew up in a single parent home. So seeing a dad every day wasn't something that I had, but I knew that I was gonna be one regardless of what. So that was always just like that thing in the back of my mind. You're gonna be the best dad. You're gonna be the best dad. I don't care how many times you fall on your face. You're gonna be the best dad. You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna do good at it. And I guess the rest is history because I'm still doing it. I've been a parent 16 years. I'm teaching my kids things. I'm still figuring out life as well. And I'm enjoying every moment. So
how many kids do you have altogether? Tell me one more time.
I got 3.
3?
Yep. I got a 16-year-old, I got a 12-year-old, and I have a 3-year-old. Yep.
And boys?
Two girls. So the 16-year-old is a girl, 12-year-old is a girl, and a 3-year-old is a boy.
You're a girl dad.
Kinda, sorta. I kind of got out of that when I got the little guy, but.
And how do you feel like your parenting skills are going to differentiate between the girls and the boys?
You know what's funny? I recently just had that conversation with my kids not too long ago, and I sat them down, and we just had a regular conversation, but I let them know, and I just let them know that my son was going to get a different version of me than what they were going to get from me. But I said that based on my maturity and where I am now as who I am now. I'm not who I was when I was 19. I'm not who I was when I was, 25? No, actually, I was, 23, 24? Yeah, when I had my second one. So that person isn't the same 30-something-year-old that's having a kid. So my kids are going to get different versions of me. They're still going to get the best. They still got the best of me, but they got the best of what I had at that moment, you know, and that's how I look at it. And then, you know, I tell them, like, yeah, your brother might get the best version of me in a sense because I'm more mature. I'm not playing the games that I was playing at 19 years old, at 20-something years old. I know where I want to go. Versus when I had you guys, I was still figuring out life. And I'm still figuring out life, but now I got my purpose behind me. I'm focused on different things. I'm more committed in my relationship. So he's going to get that more tight-knit version of dad that you guys kind of got, that I'm growing up.
He gets the more polished version.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I mean, and I'm very transparent with them about that. Like, I want them to know that. Like, you guys are going to see your brother and you're going to see the things that we do and you're going to kind of look at him and you might get a little offended, but don't be offended. I was still young when I had you.
Oh, so you had that talk with them?
I always had that talk with them. I think that's important to have. I think at every stage of that, every level of a kid's life, that you should have certain conversations. Rather it's the girl talk, you know, with the boy talk with your daughter, or you know, just anything in life, just being transparent, but being transparent at their level. Yeah.
So you believe in the open door policy with your children?
Oh, that's a fact. Yeah. Nah, I'm all about that because I feel like when I was growing up, I was in a house that it was kind of just like speak when spoken to. You never really got a chance to voice how you really felt. So with my kids, I want them to be able to do that, but I also want them to know that, okay, you still got to be respectful. You still got to, you know, yeah, it's cool to get your point across and get your feelings across, but there's a right way and there's a wrong way to do it. And where's a better place to practice other than at home? With people who aren't going to judge you, people who are going to look out for you, people who are going to let you know, yo, you know that was bad. You know you shouldn't have said that, or you know. So just having that environment at home allows them to go out in the world and keep it 100. People not going to be able to play with them because they're going to understand it. And they're going to move a certain way because they understand, oh, I can voice my opinion. This is how I feel, or I could say this because, you know, like this is okay to do. And a lot of times, like I said, I wasn't raised like that. At the moment I kind of got, you know, a certain way when it came to like my mom, it was kind of just like speak when spoken to type of energy, and that's a lot of the you know, just how things are played out with like the old school generation versus like now. You know, we're a little more open, we're a little more understanding, we're a little more connected. We have the internet, we can learn a little differently. They kind of just had it as, look, man, this is it. This is what you're doing. This is. And you can't raise kids with that same energy these days.
So back in the day with our parents, obviously we got our behinds whooped. So what is the disciplinary action that you take in your household that's either the same or different from how you brought up?
I'm stern, but I'm laid back, right? And when I say stern, I'm kind of just like, I let my kids fall. But at the same time, it's kind of just like I also have the conversation. I got more of that, I want to have a conversation with you type of, because a lot of times too, like when we were growing up, we didn't know what we were getting yelled at about. Yeah. We were just getting yelled at. Yeah. And we do it again, and we didn't know why we were getting yelled at, and it was like, what did I do? Why you keep yelling at me? Why do you keep fussing at me? My style is, nah, you like, even with my 3-year-old, he'll do something, and I'll do timeout, and then after timeout, hey, come here, I do 5 minutes. I don't get too crazy. I don't just sit him in the corner for mad long and just, just try to punish him. It's one of those, look, I need you to chill for a second, regroup for a minute, and then, hey, yo, what did you do wrong? And he'll tell me. He'll know exactly what he did wrong. So what we going to do better next time? And he's 3, so he probably going to do it again. But he's got the context, and he knows he's learning right from wrong in those moments versus kind of just bumping his head and nobody telling him why it's bad that he's bumping his head. And that's the style of how I am with my kids, which makes it easy, goes back to that open door policy, for them to come and have certain conversations with me, because that's the style of how I move when it comes to them. So, I mean, I love that. I love being able to, and I won't say correct it, because I think our parents gave us the best of what they had, but there's better ways to do it.
I agree 100%. So with the way today's world is now, how do you handle bullying in your household?
Like amongst my kids bullying each
Your kids in schools? No, or bullying each other or being bullied at school, either or.
I definitely don't like the idea of my kids starting things. But I do want them to be able to defend themselves. So, and girl, I got 2 daughters that are older, and I've seen my oldest one go through certain things and, have certain situations in school already where I just don't understand girl culture. I don't understand how girls are and why they're so catty and why they do the things that they do. So I kind of just sit back and just let mom handle those situations, because she understands that world a lot better than me. So to your point, when it comes to the whole bullying thing, I'm not for it. But if my kids are going through it,
Handle your business.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do, because there's no place for that. And I don't think kids should back down to that either. Like, I think bullies should be dealt with, and that's just old school. You know what I mean? Like, yo.
Were you ever bullied growing up?
Nah, no. I always been. I'm class clown. Like, who wants to fight with me? Like, I'm here to make you laugh. Like, I don't got that style. I never really. I've had moments like that where I've kind of just had those, angry days where I wanted to go to school and just beat people up because my mom made me mad on the way to school, or something triggered me on the way to school. But overall, I just wanted to get kicked out of class and make people laugh. Growing up as a kid, honestly, that was always my thing. Class clown. Anywhere I went, who can I make laugh today? And that's always been my thing.
Are any of your kids like you as far as being a class clown?
My 3-year-old is.
The boy?
Yeah, he's funny. He's hilarious. The stuff that he does, and I just sit back and I watch him and I go, yo, where does he get this from? But I know exactly where he gets it from. Everything is play. Everything is play for him. Everything is a playful moment for him. That's how we are when we're having our moments in the house together. And I love it. I love to see him just full of life and just enjoying. And then the other side of that is I never got to be that kid that sees his dad at that age. You know what I mean? Yeah, I've seen my brother's dad, but I didn't see my dad. You know what I mean? So watching him and knowing that he gets to experience something that I didn't get is fulfilling as well too. So just honestly, just watching all my kids do that is fun for me, because it's I really get to break these curses, and I really get to stand on things that I didn't see my family stand on, and I can kind of look at them and go, well, Look at me. And certain lights and certain things. So I enjoy that. I enjoy that part.
It's like a full circle moment, if you will.
It is. And it gives you that chance to really just look at life and go, oh, yeah, wow, okay. I stood on that.
How do you feel about your daughter's dating?
We're going to do that. Hey, you know what? Honestly, you know what? I'm gonna give a scenario, right? So I recently had my daughter. This is when school started. She's got a boyfriend, right? And I try not to correct them. I try to let them go through their own little things in life. But my first thing is anyway, if you don't love yourself and you're not focused on the things that you should be doing for yourself, no matter how much you think you got a boyfriend, you're not there yet because you haven't focused on you. You don't even know what your identity is. You don't know what your purpose is. You don't know any of that yet. So for you to go and give it to somebody else makes no sense. And I'll give like examples of things that I've done when I was young that, you know, like, because my wife is my high school sweetheart. So my daughter's at that age now where she sees all of that and she kind of thinks that her world's going to go the same. And I'm like, nah, it ain't going to work like that.
It was a different time back then, too.
Exactly. It was definitely a different time. This is pre-internet. Like, you got to actually know who you messing with. Like, it's different. And, you know what I mean? So I see her now and I just kind of look at it and I see certain things that she does and she's like super naive and she thinks that, you know, this world is just going to be loving and the first boy that falls in love with you is going to be the one. And it's just like, yo, it don't work like that. So, like, when it comes to dating, I really look at her like, yo, like, you got to relax. You got to chill. Like, you still got to be focused on your identity, where you want to be in. Like, you a junior in high school. Like, you got things that's more important than that. What college you about to go to, not what boy you about to go, you know what I mean, date or none of that stuff's important because these people are temporary. The boy that you meet today may not be the boy that, you know what I mean, by the time you get to college. Like, you got to be okay with that because that's just life. It doesn't always work out the way it worked out for me and your mom. And I be needing her to know that because, you know, these kids, they think what they see at home is normal when really in the world is really not that normal. And I need them to know that as often as possible.
Absolutely. So if your daughter, or any of your children actually, were to experience their first heartbreak, how would you guide them through it?
I don't know if I could guide them through it. I'd probably just say some slick shit and keep it pushing.
What?
You know what? Because it's not because of that. Because I need my kids to know, like, that's not that important. And now, like, at this point in your life, like, I'm not gonna spend too much time trying to harp on that energy with you. Like, yo, pick yourself up. You're gonna be all right. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you want ice cream? Like, you good? You okay? Like, it's gonna be okay. It's almost like when they fall. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay. Like, I'm not about to spend too much time on this right now. Like, you're not even doing nothing serious in life yet. You still got a whole life ahead of you. This moment, you're gonna be all right.
This too shall pass.
Yeah. I don't believe in sitting on situations like that for too long at their age. I'll be the last person to come have that conversation with, because I'm gonna look at it and be like, hey, I told you to rock with you and work on yourself. So,
what are some of the principles that you try to instill in your children?
Accountability. Absolutely. Everything's your fault, and I don't care what we have a conversation about. And excuses too. That's like my biggest thing in my house. Like, my kids will start having a conversation of, and they ready to give me something, and I'm like, why are we giving excuses right now? Like, why aren't you going to do what you were supposed to go do? And, you know what I mean? Like, accountability. My kids already tell you, everything's your fault. You interact with a friend and that didn't go as planned, that's your fault. You interacted with that friend. You probably saw things that friend was doing that you probably shouldn't have hung around. Because we all been through it. We've all been through it. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you need to, it's almost like letting them know that early. Because how many times have you been young and gave yourself the pity party for being around the wrong person?
Oh, a lot.
So it's like I want to get them to, I don't want them to be hard, but I want them to know people are people.
Make them aware.
Yeah, people are people and people are going to do things, and it's okay to blame yourself and just keep it pushing.
Well said. So I want to dive into this a little deeper. What do your parents think about your partner?
They love my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what is there not to love? She's like mad nurturing, like she's dope. Like we've been together forever. Honestly, I didn't realize what I had growing up young. Like you got like, I grew up single parent home, right? I grew up not. Hindsight is 20/20, right? So I always said like I ain't grow up with a father figure and none of that, right? You know, my mom had failed relationships, people would come in my life, but no one was there long enough to create a lasting impression, right? But I also had my grandfather who I got to watch, and as I got older, I started to understand why somebody like that was in my for me to see growing up, even if I didn't understand it. And he's not my father. He's not my grandfather. He's my brother's grandfather. But I got to watch them growing up. You know, him and his wife, my grandparents, I got to watch them growing up. And really getting the chance to see how they moved. And then as I got older and became aware of what they were doing young, I started realizing that, okay, I did have that example. And I completely took the whole idea of single parent, being growing up in a single parent home, because it's like, I got to tell myself a new story now. So I got to focus on the fact that I had that example, not based on my upbringing, me not having a father, right? So I started getting better at focusing on those things in life. And that shit helped. Like, it really helps.
Did you ever get a chance to meet your actual father?
Yeah, we cool. That's my guy.
Really?
So we didn't really have a relationship growing up. As I got older, he so I had a cousin that passed away, and I ended up going to the funeral. It was on my father's side of the family, and I started getting connected with my father's side of my family. Young, I would go over there on the weekends, hang out, whatever, but it was never really like, he worked nights, so he would always sleep, he was always busy, but it was never like never got a chance to really build a relationship. And then time passed, and then I kind of just like fell out of touch with him. And then out of the blue, my stepsister hit me up one day, and we just started having a whole conversation on Facebook Messenger. And she was like, "You should talk to your dad." And I was kind of just like, "Yeah, I don't really care about that." And she was like, "Well, I lost my dad, and I wish I still had my dad. So you should reach out to your dad." And at that moment, I was just like, "Oh wow, maybe I should do that." And at that time, I was probably like 27.
27?
Yeah. And and I really was just like, "Oh wow, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do that. And I didn't do it to look for answers. I did it because it was just like, time has passed already. Like, I'm not about to sit around and rehash what went wrong or what didn't go right growing up. Like, it's done. I done moved on. I'm raising kids. I'm okay where I'm at now. And it just became one of those situations where it was just like, what up, man? Like, what's good, bro? Like, we here now. Like, what we gonna do? You know what I mean? Can you be here for them? You know what I mean? Like, I'll rock with you. Like, and I didn't want to spend too much time on the pain and the hurt, because at that point it was like, look, man, I done rose above that. Like, I got a wife, I got kids. Like, we happy. Like, why would I go and try to piece together the puzzle? Is kind of like, yo, let's move on. Yo, what up, man? We only live once.
So you forgave?
Yeah. Like, and it wasn't like a I forgive you moment. It was just kind of like, I'm at peace. Like, I don't even care. Like, it wasn't that, like, I never went to my dad and was like, yo, I forgive you. Like, it was kind of just like, yo, bro, we here. Like, what up? What we doing? We building. We talk damn near every weekend. Like, he lives in Georgia. I'm here. I'm actually planning on moving closer. And I'm just kind of just like, yo, whatever. It is what it is. Like, I really enjoy just, like, having a relationship and then my kids having a relationship.
How is he with your children?
Oh, he's amazing. Like, he sits on the phone with my son and, you know, they have FaceTime calls. My daughters have a relationship with him. He can call them. They can call, you know, so it's, sometimes I look at it and I go, damn, that kind of sucks, because when I'm on the phone with him, you know how you have some of the conversations you have with your mom, I can't really have with my dad, but I got right now. And I think for me, that's more important than yesterday. So it's like, all right, yeah, I don't have the 5-year-old story, but I got the 36-year-old story. And at this point in my life and at this chapter, you're here. That's it. I don't really care to go back to that chapter 5. You know what I mean? So
What you have now is more than good enough.
yeah.
Understood. What are some of the financial struggles that you went through being a parent that you were able to overcome? And how did you overcome them?
Man, them diapers? No. Nah. You know what? You know what? When my second daughter was born, I lost my job, and that had to be like one of the hardest moments. But I figured it out. Got a new job. But you know what I mean? Like, I think with anything, like, if you want to get better, you just got to figure out what that takes to get better. And I don't think nothing lasts forever. So, you know what I mean? Like, I had the ground running, did what I had to do, got back on my feet, and you know what I mean? It's been great, because not only I went through a phase in life where I kind of did a lot of stupid stuff. So like, as I got older, it got easier to kind of get on a straight and narrow and focus, because I had them as like almost like a compass. Like, all right, I gotta follow this direction. I gotta rock with them. I gotta make sure they're good. So after a while, it just kind of became like one of those things where it was just like, all right, you know what? No matter what I'm going through in life, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna make sure that they're good. I ain't gonna be putting myself in no jam, because I gotta take care of them.
What were some of the mistakes you made while being a parent that might have affected you being a parent?
So I'm gonna tell you a story, right? So I had 3 years in a row where I sat in a holding cell on my wife's birthday.
What?
Yeah. So first incident was kind of just like, all right, cool, babe. You know, matter of fact, I think I just missed the case, and I had to go turn myself in that morning, right? So that was the first one. Second one, damn, I forgot what I did for the second one. What was the second one? But either way, 3 years in a row, I'm arrested on my birthday. Third time, my daughter's born the day before. So my daughter's born July 15th, and my wife's birthday is July 16th. So I went home, thought I was going to go do what I had to do, handle my business, and I was going to make my way back up to the hospital. I didn't make it up to the hospital. I ended up in a holding cell again, third time's the charm, right? But this time my second kid's born. So now your second kid's born, and everybody's looking at you like, yo, bro, you done already did this twice. This is your third time. You want kid number 2, figure it out. And she pretty much gave me that ultimatum too, like, yo, you either gonna get it, like, it's either us or the stupid stuff. And at that point, I was just like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna do what I had to do. But I had to start over completely, because I had to become somebody completely different now. Wow. Because now I can't be who I was in that time period. I gotta go and figure out life, get better. I gotta go through some different things. I gotta cut off people that, you know what I mean, that aren't right for me, and I gotta get focused on the things that are important to me, and I did that.
So you locked in essentially.
Yeah, I had no choice but to lock in, because it was either that, keep doing stupid stuff and end up lonely by myself and no family. And it goes back to what I said originally. That was always my mission, to make sure I'm there for my family no matter what. I'm going to always do that. So I have no choice but at every wrong turn to go back to that mission that I have for myself. Yo, do what you got to do and make sure your kids is good.
That's good. And how do you make sure that your kids don't make the same mistakes as you?
I don't think I can. But what I can do is I can be there to guide them and keep it 100 with them about the things that I have been through, and hope that they don't go down the same path, by making sure that I have them conversations with them and I'm very blunt with my kids. I'm very transparent with my kids. I don't care if it's at the 3-year-old level or the 16-year-old level. Like, the 3-year-old conversation ain't the same as the 16-year-old conversation. But I'm still having conversations with my kids about the important things in life, because I need them to understand the importance of it. Because at any time, man, life is going to come up to you and it's going to punch you in the mouth, and you got to be ready for it. I don't care who you are. I don't care how old you are. At any given point, life is going to show up and say, here, and serve you a punch. And you either got to be nice at blocking, you either got to be nice at eating the punch, or you got to be nice at throwing it back.
Sink or swim.
Yeah. Like, and that's how I look at it. Like, that's how I am when it come to them. Like, I think they're going to go through things in life, and I'm not looking to protect them from everything, but I'm looking to give them the real.
I like that. I like that a lot. So obviously your kids are in school, and with the way the world is today, how do you feel about sending your kids to school with all the school tragedies and tragic stories that we see day to day?
So those are always scary, because you don't never know when those moments are happening, right? Like, we always see those things happening in the news, and it's like, damn, like, you don't know when that could be your kid's school. Like, you really don't, because it's like, wow, like, look at the Texas situation, Newtown, all those different things. Like, you look at those type of things and you go like, damn, not kids. So you don't know how those things are gonna happen. I just pray to God that they, you know what I mean, like, they don't. That because it's like, what do you do? You don't know where, you don't know how, you don't know what kids being affected where in the world. This world is so crazy now. A lot of people are doing things just to create a name for themselves. So, like, me personally, I just tell my kids, yo, be respectful to everybody. Do whatever you gotta do to make sure that you don't put yourself in no situation that's going, you know what I mean, end up you being a target jammed up in a situation. But overall, like, honestly, my biggest thing right now with schools is the confusion they creating.
As far as
Gender roles. I think leave kids alone. We live in a world where kids at this age, at these young ages, don't even have the logic to decide what kind of candy they want. But we're okay with shoving this information down their throat and creating all these false narratives on a level that they don't even understand. Leave that at home. Let home figure that out. If that's a conversation that's had to be had at home, let home figure that out. Leave it out of schools. Just the way y'all willing to leave religion out of schools, leave that out of schools. And that's how I look at that. Like, just leave these babies alone. Just let them grow, let them be innocent, and let them enjoy life. And when it's time to have that conversation, let mom and dad do that. Like, leave that alone. That's not your place. That's not your business. You have no right. Mind your business. teach ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and leave it the fuck alone. That's how I feel about that. Other than that, and teach these kids something they want to learn. That too. That other than that,
You feel like the kids are bored with the curriculum? You feel like they're not being challenged enough?
that and the teachers are suckers now. Like, not be like super rude, because there's teachers out there that really care. But nowadays, a lot of people are always in their feelings, and people don't stand on the things that our teachers were like when we were growing up. Like, teachers were really stern. They weren't really there to be your friend. They were really rocking with making sure your education was on point. Nowadays, these teachers, they ready to pick at the kids. It's almost like babies teaching babies in certain situations, because they passing on their traumas to these kids, and they walking in these classrooms with traumas themselves and not there to do the job fully. They there for the check, or they there to, you know what I mean? And that some of those things that I see, and I see this from just walking in classrooms, walking in schools to meet certain teachers and just seeing their demeanor and how they move and just how they carry themselves. And I'm like, I really don't trust my kid with that person, because that person's there giving me information based off of feeling and not off facts. And I'm not really cool with that type of energy. And I'm scared for these kids. Like, a lot of these teachers ain't on the level they should be on. I think teachers should be paid more, but they should also go through a certain level of, I think it should be more, how could I put it?
A certain level of experience?
Not just experience. It should be more, it should be tougher. Like, it should be really tougher for them to get some of these positions that they go for. Because at the end of the day, these are kids, that y'all, I'm literally trusting you and my kid for 8 hours a day. And I expect my kid to come home with something of use. And I won't say I don't see that, but I do see a lot of the BS that comes with it. And I'm not okay with it, because I grew up in a stern environment where, even if you're looking at snow, we watched snow fall before we got out of school. When it came to teachers weren't really concerned about how you felt. They concerned about you getting your education and being there to make sure you were straight. Like, I don't see the toughness in school anymore. I almost feel like teachers are running around timid, and I don't think it should be like that. And I don't know what causes that. But what I'm saying is, I don't like it as a parent.
So you feel like they should show more tough love in school?
I think so. Because once again, life is going to come and punch a kid in the face, and they're going to have to figure it out. Just like anything else in life, just as adulthood. At some point, that kid becomes an adult. At some point, that kid's going to have to stand up and stand on principle and go through life. And if the people that teach them aren't on that, how do you expect them to thrive in a world where everyone's about their opinion?
So you're the father of a teenager, as you mentioned earlier. So I'm pretty sure eventually, or if not now, she's already hanging out, partying with friends. What are some of the worries and rules you instill in her when she does go out and party?
All right, so I got a homebody kid.
Oh, wow.
Which is great. Which is great, right? Which is great. And I'm grateful for that. I don't know if it's a good thing or I don't know if it's a bad thing, right? But she's very social. She's always on the phone, so I know she has friends. But she's starting to realize the importance of having a small circle now. Good. So she says little slick things to me sometimes. She's like, "Oh, Daddy, it's boring having a small circle." And I'm like, nah, it's really not. Like, it's peaceful. Yeah. And if you start learning that now, like, you're not going to be so inviting with having just anybody in your life. So I love that aspect, because she's not really just like the party, but her mouth is crazy at times.
In what way? Must be like your mouth.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna give you that. You got that. But at the same time, I don't know. Girls are just different when it comes to all right, I'm a straight shooter. Girls are more like, how could I put it?
We talk with our emotions more.
Yeah. That's all I'm trying to think. Like, all right, so women are like a thunder. It's like a thunderstorm happening, and everything is just attached to an emotion. And she has that, so it's like all logic goes out of the window with certain conversations, and I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, but this is the point I'm trying to make, and then a new feeling comes about, and it's like, yo, come on, yo, how did we get here? Like, we done strayed away from the original conversation of what we should have been doing. Now we arguing. Now you telling me this. Yo, just go to your room at that point. But overall, like, I could have it a lot worse too. I love the way she is. And I'm okay with that. And I hope it doesn't change. I hope she doesn't get to a point in life where she wants to be just all out crazy. And I like she has that mature side to her. And if she does, I just hope she's smart with it. And I hope she just realizes, that there's a reason why I don't keep a ton of company. There's a reason why I have a very private home. There's a reason why I keep certain things out of my home, because I want them to kind of use that as their compass for their life, because there's so much peace in that. Yeah, it's boring. Yeah, people could call me boring, but you know how peaceful my life is when I go home. I got my partner. We cooling. We chilling. I love it.
As your kids get older, I'm sure they're gonna, thrive into their own lives and begin their own partnerships. How would you deal with it if you didn't agree with the person your children ended up with?
Probably tell them to their face. But outside of that, though, my kids got to figure that out on their own. As long as they're not in a situation where a person's abusive, then I'm stepping in automatically. There's no, bro, like, let's go. Like, what are we doing? And in this day and age, I probably got to make sure you know what I mean? You probably ain't no coming back at that point. But overall, like, they got to figure that out. They got to figure that out, just like anything else in life. They got to figure it out. Yo, are you willing to accept this? I know you better than that. I'm always have that conversation with them, because, you great. Like, you don't have to put up with that. You do know that, right? And as long as they understand that and they respect that for themselves, I think they'd be all right.
Well, what are some of the morals that your mother instilled in you growing up?
They all pop up here and there, right? I don't think I listened to a lot of shit growing up. I think I'm listening to it now as I get older. You know how they say, like, you throw out so much stuff and then you end up going back to the trash later looking for it?
Yeah.
That's how I am with a lot of stuff that I was taught growing up. Like, I know I'm supposed to use it. I don't know when I'm supposed to use it. Let me go back to the trash and get it. And salvage whatever's left of it and make peace of it. But one of the biggest things, my mom very, very independent. So I learned that independent side very young. Like, I tell anybody, like, I could cook, I could clean, I could do everything on my own. So if you ever gonna be around me, like, you gotta, like,
Bring it.
Yeah, you gotta bring it, because I don't need it. Like, you know what I mean? And my wife understands that, but she does a hell of a job doing what she does. So, I don't have to jump in and do everything, but I can. And I'm always willing to too. So that's the other side of it. And my mom's a hell of a go-getter, just constantly working. So, like, I got a lot of that from her. It's more actions than talk. Like, I don't think I really paid attention to the talk. I always watched. I've always been a very keen person when I see things like, that don't look right. You know what I mean? So it's always been that for me when it came to my mom. Like, see how she moved. I saw, she working. She getting to it. You know what I mean? So when I got to a certain age, I got to work. I got to get to it. So it was always those things that really stuck out to me. More so than like the talk. Yeah, my mom, yeah, always respect the woman, certain things like that. But I feel like a lot of the other things that I learned in life that I really needed came from different men in my life. Versus, I won't say my mom didn't teach me how to be tell me how to be an adult. But I had to learn certain things and be around certain things to get the tools that I really use today. You know what I mean? And that for me is super important.
Do you think that a mother can teach her son how to be a man?
No.
No?
Uh-uh. I think she can teach a man how to be an adult. But there's certain things that a man has to learn and know that doesn't come from his mother. You know what I mean? And it's not to say that women can't do a hell of a good job, because they can. So let's not, say that they can't do a great job raising a boy and until an adult. I'm just saying there's certain things that boys are always going to look for that they should really have, and they should be able to get it from a man. The things that they really going to need in life are going to come from a man. That's how I feel. Personally, a lot of the things that I really learned and that really carry me to this day, I learned from valuable people in my life. My mom really was good at putting a village around me of solid men that stand on principle. So when I say that, with the old adult, she knew how to set up her village so that I could get what I needed from the people that she couldn't give certain things, but she knew there was gonna be people around me that were gonna put me in a position to be okay. And for that reason, I'm always gonna be grateful. And there's certain things that I was able to learn from men in my family, and just solid people in general that I could carry with me for the rest of my life, because that village was set up properly.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love the way you put that. Your story was absolutely amazing. What are some of the things that you hope other fathers take away from your story that you gave today?
Stand on your shit. Be a dad. Yo, and I say this, and I like, yo, kids don't ask to be here. Like, yo, kids really don't ask to be here. So, like, a mom carries a baby for 9 months. We gonna hear that a million times, right? She gonna tell us that through the whole, your kid gonna turn 5. She gonna tell that story. Yo, bro, the least you could do is be there. And kids spelled love, Time. A kid don't care if you got $100 in your pocket. That perk is free. And it's those type of things that I try to tell people all the time. Like, yo, yeah, don't get me wrong. You're supposed to be able to take care of that kid. You put in on that. When it was time to do your thing and do whatever, you had 2 options. You could have put the Jimmy on. You didn't put the Jimmy on. Now you here. The baby's here. What are you going to do? You going to stand on that shit? You going to handle your business? Or you could run. You could run. But don't call yourself a man in that moment. And you do have situations where things vary, but I'm talking to the men that have the opportunity to be there, do what you got to do, handle your business. That was always my goal. My first, like I tell you, I celebrated that first moment. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I was going to stand on my shit. And I'm still here, standing on my shit.
And you're still here. Well, that was wonderful. I really, really do thank you for taking out the time to sit and talk with me. I appreciate it very much.
Of course. I love Parental Vision.
We love you too. But before we wrap, I do have one more question, which you kind of touched on a little bit already. 5 words that make up a great father.
Silly. I'm going to use that because that's me, right? You got some level of compassion, discipline. What I do? Compassion, discipline, empathetic, and What would be my fifth one? Accountability. There you go.
Great. Those are wonderful key points. And once again, I thank you.
Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Anytime. All right, everyone. That's a wrap for Parental Vision. Once again, I'm your host, Tiana, and this segment is sponsored by Faye's Coffee. Until next time, bye.